Hey guys, welcome in Code lecture. My name is Philip, and in this video you are going to learn how to create registration functionality together with sending of activation emails. So after user has been successfully registered, we'll send activation email to user email address. User needs to confirm and click activation link to activate his account. And after that, user can log in. Alright, so without any further waiting, let's start. And the first thing you need to do, you need to set up your starting project. And you can do so by cloning or downloading my GitHub repository and checking into a specific version of the project we are going to work on in this lecture. A link to my GitHub repository you can find in the description of this video, and you can find there also introduction lecture where I am explaining how to set up this project and how to check into a specific version of the project. Alright guys, so it's very well explained in this starting video. You can find one more time in the description of this video, and all of the required resources you can find there as well. Alright, now we can start. You can go to your terminals and we will start by running our servers and checking into a version of the project of the first version. Okay, so we need to check out into a version 1. Let's go to your terminals. I suppose your projects are already running or they are set up. Okay, so first thing you always need to do, you need to run npm install in your project. Okay, so we'll just run here npm install. I suppose everything should be already installed, and I will shut down my API server. All of this, how to set it up, you can find one more time in the first video. All right, if everything was installed for you, now we can check out to a specific version. So we will write here a git tag. They should list all of the tags, and we want to check out to a tag version 1. So let's write here git checkout -b, name of the branch. Let's write here registration space and a version 1.0 like this. This will check me out to a branch of a registration, and to verify this, we'll write here git branch and will be indeed in a registration. Alright, now we can start up our server. So let's write here npm run dev, and in a new tab here, so you can click here Ctrl T or Command T to open a new tab in the same folder, and you can run here npm run server to run your API server. If everything is running for you, you can go to your browsers and you can open localhost 3000. Alright, this should be your Next.js starting project and also your API on localhost 3001. You can go to API/test and you should see here message hello world. If this is a setup for you, we can continue and we can start working on actual feature. Okay, so let's open your coding editors. I will open my project so we'll be working on. So this is not the project, so I need to find it in my folder structure here. We are working on next YouTube course. I will open this and I will give you a short introduction of our project. So most important functionality is in our client side, which is in the pages folder, in a register, because we'll be working on the registration. We'll take a look here what's happening here. Okay, so we have here a form. In this form, we are gathering data of a username, email, and a password. We are sending this data as a JSON object into our server. We are sending it to the request, to the API request. Request is created here to the register user function. After we'll submit the form, we will execute the register user function, which will send the data to register endpoint. We are sending request to localhost 3001/API/register. This path is saying to which path we should send the request. Base path is defined in a root folder here. Here we are providing RESTful provider, which is specifying the base path of our API server. You can see here localhost 3001/API, and here we are just appending register. So this will be sending this request. To see this, we can simply go to our browsers. Alright, and here to a register, so sign up. We'll provide here some information. So let's say username will be test, email will be test@gmail.com, and password will be test. I will inspect this. I will open a network tab, so you can just right click here, open a network tab, click here network, and just simply send a request to submit. and you will see you are creating a request. So this request is going to localhost 3001/API register. You should see here data you are sending, actual data are here. So here is a post request. As you can see, data you are sending is an email, password, username, and the response is user is already registered because this user is already registered. So one more time, go to your calling editors, and to see our server part, you need to open a server folder. So let's open a server folder. You will open here DB. This is your database I have prepared for you. It's very simple database consisting of a JSON files where you are storing your users. So this is a user we have just registered. It's a pending user with an email, username, and a password that it's hashed. All right, now let's see actual functionality. So let's open Next.js where I specified register route for you. You can go up here to register route. You can see there is a post endpoint. So when we are making a request to localhost 3001/API/register, this request is going here. So first thing we are doing here, we are looking for a user. Also, we are looking for a pending user. If some of these users already exist, we are sending back response, user is already registered, and you can see that in our page. We send a back response, user is already registered. Then we are creating a new user. In these cases are not met. Then we are continuing, we are creating new pending user with this hard-coded data. You can see here email, username, and a password. They are hard-coded. We are creating a new pending user. We are hashing user password, and we are storing user to database. Okay, so creating new user object, hashing password, storing user to database, and sending a response of the user if the user is registered. Okay, these data are stored in a JSON files as I explained, and these data are hard-coded here as you can see. So if I will change your email for, let's say, we are looking for this can stay here actually, or we can look up for a user test1. We want to find the user test1, and here we want to register the user test1 with the username test1, and a password will be test1. Like this, I will save this. I need to recompile, I need to restart my node server. So I will go here to my nodes terminal window, and I will run here npm run server, and this will start up again my server on localhost 3001. All right, I will go back to my application. I will go here. It doesn't matter which data we are providing here. After I will submit, you can see here message, please visit your email address and activate your account. I said this doesn't matter which data we are sending in a form because we are not getting any of this information in our API route. We are simply hard-coding here these informations to create a users. Okay, how we are creating our models, how we are creating our user and pending user. Okay, so we are using these models, user and a pending user. If you want to create a model, you just need to simply create a new file in your server folder with the name of your model you want to create. You will register this model into your database. I'm using here this file database. It's very simple database I have created for you, and you need to define the name of your collection here, and that's it. You don't need to provide here these additional functions. This is just to hash a password, and just for a security reasons. And you will export this from here. Okay, and the same I'm doing for a model for a user here. We'll be creating more models in a later lecture, so you will see how it actually works. For now, you just need to know, you just need to export from here and register your collection. Okay, and then you simply will import it into your file. As you can see here, user and pending user, and then you can use out of the box some functionalities here. So for example, find, this will find the user in a JSON file, or you can use a save, this will save the user into a JSON file, or you can even remove, and this will store all of this into a data, and you will see the pending users you will have. Okay, now to the explanation how registration is actually working. As you can see here, we are not storing our users into a users collection. We are storing our users into a pending users. And that's very important because when we are going to log in, we are looking for a user in a users. And that's why login functionality will not work because we don't have any users here. We have here only pending users. And what will happen when a user will click on activation email is basically we would like to remove a user from a pending user, and we would like to add this user here. Okay, and now I will show you wireframe how it will look like. Okay, so we are on localhost 3000 in our register form. We are making API request, POST request to localhost 3001 to a server with user information, email, and a password and username. First thing, we will check login credentials if the user already doesn't exist. If user already exists, we will send a back response with the error. If user doesn't exist, we will this is the second step I already explained. We will find the user and check if the user is in a database. If the user is not in a database yet, we will create temporary user. We will create a pending user, and we will send email activation link into an email address of the user. Then we will respond the user with the status of a register, which can be success or error. After user will get activation email, we'll navigate the user to specific link into our application, where we'll try to activate a user. This request will go to our localhost 3000. In localhost 3000, we will create a request to a server to localhost 3001. We will check our user, because here is the ID of the user. We want to see if the user is actually existing into a pending. If the user is actually pending user, if user is pending user, we'll remove a pending user, and we'll add a user. We will create a normal user into our database. And again, we'll send we will respond with a status of activation. So this can be error or success. All right, so now we can start a little bit coding, guys. And the first thing we need to do here, we need to get informations from a request. We need to get an email, password, and username from a request. To get information from a request, we need to check it. We need to get this information from a request body. And for this, we need to install one package. We need to install middleware, body parser. For this, let's go to your terminals, please. All right, let's shut down your servers. Make sure you are in your root folder of your project, and let's run here npm install --save body-parser. Let's press enter. All right, this will install body parser, and after that, we'll use this package. Okay, it has been installed. We'll run our server back again. So npm run server. Let's go to our coding editors. In our server folder index.js, let's import here body parser. So const body parser equal require, and let's get here body parser. So simply body-parser. Okay, now I will register this middleware. So I'll use here app.use. I will use here body parser. So body parser, and I would like to get a JSON data from a request, so like this. Now, since we are sending our data, as I showed you, in our browsers, we are receiving them in a request, we can get them in our register API endpoint. So we can write here const, in the curly brackets, we can receive email, password, and also username like this. All of this we are receiving from a request.body from a request. All right? Okay, and now we can actually look for actual user with the email we are sending in a request. So I can remove this part. I can leave here as an email. So we are looking user by the email. Then we are looking pending user by the email. So I can remove this part here. All right, then this can stay the same. We are verifying if they are existing. If they existing, we are saying user is already registered. If they are not existing, we will create new pending user with the email, password, and username we are sending here. So we can provide all these informations, email, username, and a password. So we are creating a new pending user. We are hashing user password, and we are storing this user into a database. And here we will send actually to the user just a message. So I'll write here JSON object with a message. And let's say here user has been registered, or you have been registered. Check your email address in order to activate your account, or something like this. You can send a message. Okay, and this way we don't need to assign a result of this save operation into variable. So I can simply remove it, and we will just save this user. We'll hash a password, and we will save the user. Okay, we can verify it. We can make a request from our client into a server, and we will see if these users are stored into pending user.json. For this, we can just simply remove everything from appending users.json, save the file. Let's go to our terminals. Let's shut down our server, because every time we'll make changes in our API server, we need to rerun it. So npm run server again, and let's try it out. Let's go back to our browsers. Let's go to register here. Let's refresh this page, and let's write here test, email test@gmail.com, password test. Let's submit. Please visit your email address. Let's submit again. You should see here user is already registered. Let's register user with a different email. So let's say test2@gmail.com and password test2. Let's submit, and user has been registered. We can verify it by going into a JSON file, and you can see here these two users has been added into a JSON file. Okay, test and a test2 at Gmail, and test at Gmail, and passwords are hashed. Perfect, so this is working. All right, now we can continue since we have a user information. What we can do now, we can send actual email. We can send email so they can verify that they are actual users, so they can click on this activation link, and this will activate their accounts. So it will remove them from a pending user, and it will add them to actual users.json. All right, so for sending emails, we'll use one package that's called Node Mailer. Okay, so let's go to our terminals again. Let's shut down our server, and simply let's install here Node Mailer. So npm install --save Node Mailer, like this. Let's press enter, and it will install this package for you. And let's wait a couple of seconds, and we will continue, and we will create a function that will be sending emails. All right, Node Mailer was installed, so we can go back to our calling editors. And simply in your server folder, let's create a new file. Let's call it mailer.js, and let's create here implementation of sending of emails. So first we need to import here Node Mailer. So let's write here node const node mailer require node mailer, like this. Now I will export here function. So let's write here export. So we will call this function send confirmation email. Send confirmation email. Okay, so this simple function. Into this function we'll receive object which will contain to which user we would like to send email. So to user object, and also hash. This will be specific code contained in the link we'll be sending. Okay, we'll call it simply hash. This will be asynchronous code, so I will return from here a promise. So let's return from here a new promise. All right, and when we want to resolve a promise, we need to call the resolve function. Otherwise, we want to call the reject function. No, okay. Now to the actual implementation, we need to create a transporter object. So let's write here const transporter, like this, and let's write here node mailer, and you will use here function create transport. So create transport, and to create a transport, you will provide a configuration. So this is the way how you want to send the email through the which service. We will be sending emails through the Gmail service. So let's write here service, and I will use here Gmail. There are also other services available, but preferably please use a Gmail. Okay, if you have another service, you can try to make it with the other service, and I will show you a list of all of the services you can use. So let's write here node mailer services, well-known services, and you can use all of these services. We are using a Gmail. Okay, so here should be also Gmail. So we are using this service. All right, so let's continue. We are using Gmail service, and you need to provide your authentication method, and this will be your username in your Gmail account, and also password, like this. And actually, you don't want to provide here informations into this file. You don't want to expose them, because this will be, of course, security breach. You don't want to share your secure informations. So for this, we'll create an environment file where we'll set up username of a service and also password for a Gmail of your account. Okay, so let's go again to folder here, and in a root folder of application, let's specify .env file. Okay, so simply I have here already .env file, but you can create here a new file and create here .env, like this. Okay, and I will show you content of this file now. Okay, so let's go to .env, and you can find here Google user. variable specified, Google password, variable specified, and a domain. Please choose your email address as a Google user. So for me, it would be, I can share it, it would be yerga99@gmail.com. So this is the email I'm using for logging into my email account. Password, I will not share with you, so I will just choose here some random password, test. Of course, you should put here your actual password. And a domain. Domain will be our development server, our localhost 3000. So simply let's write here HTTP. This is very important, / localhost 3000. Let's save this file, and in order to register this file, you need to go to index.js, and you need to use here .env package, and you have here already .env package initialized. So what .env package will do, it will load your environment variables, and it will provide them to process .env object. So now we should be able to access Google user, Google password, and a domain, okay, in our code. So let's go back to our mailer.js, and please be sure that your .env file is listed in the root folder of your project, and if you have a git ignore, make sure you have .env in a git ignore. All right, with that we can continue, and we can provide here our user and a password from this environment variable. So in a user, I will provide here process.env.google_user, and a password will be process.env.google_password. Okay, and we can continue. Here is our transported is created. All right, let's create here some more space, and let's write here const message. All right, this will be object, and this will be message we want to construct. So we want to provide from which email we are sending this message. We can provide our email process.env.google_user, to which user we want to send the email. So let's provide here to property. And a to will be actual, it will be to user.email in the ideal case. But currently we are testing this functionality, so we would like to send emails to our email address. In a production, you would like to send an email to actual user that has been registered, but in a case of our application, we'll be sending emails to our own email address for testing purposes. So I will comment this out. Okay, so let's write here in production. But for testing purposes, I'll write here to, and I will be sending always emails to my own email address. So I'll write here process.env.google_user, which is my own email address. So we can test it out that we are sending email successfully. Okay, now we will provide a subject of this email. So let's write here property of a subject under to. So subject, like this, and this can be simply whatever subject you want. So let's write your app dash, and let's activate account. All right, comma, and now HTML, what you would like to send in an email. Let's write here backticks, and let's provide here text you would like to write. So let's say I will start with the h3. This actual HTML will display in the body of your email, and let's write here hello and actual username, so $ and curly brackets, and I will write here to user name like this, and now actual message. Okay, so what we can write to the user? Okay, let's write here thank you for registering into our application. Okay, and just one more step. Okay, and like this, I will make it more wider. And underline, I will write here again p element. Let's closing p element, and let's write here to activate your account. So to activate your account, please follow this link. Please follow this link, and this will be actual link where we would like to redirect the user. Okay, so let's write here actual a element. Let's close the a element, and on a element, let's write here target. Target will be underscore, so this will open a new tab for a user. And next to the target will be href. So let's write here href. I hope this is visible for you. And instead of href, let's please specify $ curly brackets, and here let's provide a domain, which would be localhost 3000. So process.env.domain. now //API/activate/user/$ curly brackets which will be hash. In this case, the hash is actually user ID we are storing our user with. So this will be ID of this we are creating when we are creating a user. This will be some specific identifier for a user. This hash will be sending here. Okay, so link will go to http localhost 3000 /API/activate/user/hash of the user. And a text in the link will be say simply, we can just write here activate link like this. Okay, now under this, make verify it, and you can always check my GitHub repository if you have some doubts regarding to a code. You can find there already completed code you can copy, or you can check it out and compare it with your code. All right, so after that, we can just simply say thank you or cheers or something like this. Let's write here p element. Let's write here cheers. Let's close this p element. And let's write here last p element, and this will be your application team, or something like this. Doesn't really matter in this case. All right, and these are email, and now we can actually send an email. So after that, let's write here transporter, and we'll use a function send mail. Into send mail, we'll provide a message and a callback function which will be executed after mail will be sent, and you can receive either error or info. All right, in a case of an error, we would like to reject this promise. So in a case of an error, okay, so if we have an error, we will reject the promise. So reject, and let's write here error, all right? Otherwise, let's write here else. Let's resolve this promise. So let's write here resolve, and let's provide here info. And that's our email sending functionality. And now we can send actual email to user email address. All right, so let's do it. Let's save this file, please. Let's go to our index.js. Here we'll import a function to send the email. So let's write here const send confirmation email send. We can actually copy it just to be sure we'll make not any typos. Let's copy it. Let's get it here, and let's write here require, and let's get here it from our mailer, right? So // and mailer. Now we can execute this function. So let's go to register functionality. All right. After we'll hash a password, we'll save it, and we can send we can save the email after we will hash a password of a user, or after we'll create a user. It really doesn't matter here. So we'll first hash, we'll save a user, and then we can send a confirmation email. So here I will write await because it is again asynchronous functionality. I'll write here send confirmation email, and we'll provide here some information about which user would like to send this email. All right, so let's write here object. We need to provide here to user. To user will be a user we have created here. So I will get here new user. You can access data of an email username and a password on a new user under data key. So I need to access here a new user dot data, and here I can access my email and so on, but we would like to send here complete user object to as a user, so just a new user dot data, and now hash. Okay, and a hash will be ID of the user. So let's write here a new user dot data dot underscore ID like this, and this should send a confirmation email to user email address, and we should be able to click on this link and activate an account. All right, before we will finish with this, please, in a login functionality, we would like to also in a login get a user information from a request .body. Okay, so in a login, let's write here const. Let's get here email and a password from a request.body. All right, and we'll provide here email to user.find. So first we would like to find a user in a login. If user doesn't exist, we will write the invalid credentials. In a case the other, then we need to validate the password. Okay, so if we don't have a valid credentials, then we would like to validate the password. So let's provide here password. We are sending in a request. All right, if the password is valid, all good. If password is not valid, we will send a response of a 422 with an invalid password. And if the password is valid, then we are successfully logged in. So you'll send a response, you have been successfully logged in. And that's basically it. All right, now we can save this. We can try it out, but before we'll try it out, we need to do one more thing. Let's go to our terminal. You can start up your server. So node, or actually npm run serve. Okay, so npm run serve to start up your API server, and you need to do one thing. You need to open here a new tab, and let's search here for node mailer Gmail. Node mailer Gmail. You will click here using Gmail, this email, this website here, and if you will send the email right now, this email will be not sent because your application is not secure. If you want to allow to send the emails through your application, you need to click here. Okay, so here is a link. Okay, so let's read it out. You can configure your Gmail account to allow less secure apps here. So let's click here. This will navigate you here, and you will simply, I'm sorry, this in the Slovak language, but you need to enable this. So you are allowing to less secure apps to send emails for you. This is not, of course, ideal, but in the case of this concept I am explaining to you, we can get it enabled. All right, in a real case application, you don't want to enable it. You would like to provide some authentication method in the sending of the emails. If you want, I can prepare additional video for you how to set up, how to authenticate your email so you can send the email in a more secure way. But in the case of this lecture, it's okay to have it enabled. After the lecture, you can disable it again. Okay, because this is not 100% secure, and you should always authenticate your email before you are sending, or you are allowing your application to send email for you. But in the case of this concept, it's just about the concept, how to register the user and how to send a confirmation email is totally fine. Okay, so just let me know if you would like to know how to authenticate your application to send an email for you. Okay, so please enable it. Okay, after that is enabled, we can run our application. So simply in a terminal, you can shut this down. Oh, actually, I'm okay. So you can just simply let's run here npm run server again. So make sure your API server is running. You can go to your browsers. We can go to localhost 3000 and we can try to register. Okay, so first of all, I will remove my pending users and I will start from scratch. So I will go to server db data and I will remove all of my pending users. We don't have any users here. Perfect. So let's write here username will be test, email will be test@gmail.com, and the password will be test. Let's submit this, and you should see here, it should take a little bit longer, and you should see here, please visit your email address and activate your account. So our email was sent, so we can go to our Gmails. All right, and we should see here our email. All right, here it is. Your app activate account. So this is a message we have constructed. You can see here subject is activate account, hello test. Thank you for registering. We have made some typos here into our application. Just one more step to activate your account. Please follow this link, activate link. Cheers, your application team. And this link is pointing to localhost 3000/API/activate/user/ID of the user we would like to activate. Let's click on this. This should lead us to our API. And you can see here, cannot validate an user. So where is this coming from? Let's go back to our coding editors. And to see this API route is actually specified in a pages folder API. You can see here this actual exact route, pages/API/activate/user/hash. This is the request we are making here. You can see /API/activate/user/this hash here. Okay. So after I will send a request, this request will get here. And in this request, we are checking if we don't have a hash. If we don't have a hash, then we are responding with a cannot validate any user. Then we are making API request to our actual server, API server to localhost 3001, API/activate/user with a hash. And if response status is 400, then we are sending cannot validate any user. So this is what you can see here. Okay, if everything is successful, we are redirecting a user to activated page. So to user/activated, and for this we have a page we will be showing when user will be activated. You can find this page in a pages, users, and activated. This will be page will be showing when user is activated. But let's get back to our API route here, and let's see what's wrong here. So we are making a request to activate a user with this hash. Let's take a look on actual route on our endpoint on our server. So let's go to our server folder, index.js, and let's find here activate the route. Here it is. Okay, so we are sending here request will going to API/activate/user/hash. The first issue is this should start with a /API. So this should be /API/activate/user/hash. We are getting this hash from a request params, and here we need to execute some functionality to activate user. Okay, so let's talk very shortly about this functionality, but first let's try it now, because now it should work. We added here this slash. So let's go to terminal, let's restart our server, npm run server, let's go back to our browsers. Let's close this, let's click here on the link again, and you will see now we will be redirected to activation page, and now we can log in. But we cannot actually log in because we didn't activate a user yet. So when I will try to provide here test@gmail.com, password test, this will not work because we still have a user as a pending user in a data, and we haven't been activated because we need to provide this functionality into our endpoint here in an activate user endpoint. Okay, so let's work on this functionality right now. So what we need to do, I will mark this function as an async function because there will be some asynchronous functionality here, and I will write here try and a catch block. All right, in a try block, what I will try to do, I will try to get here my pending user. Okay, so I'll write here const user await pending user dot find. We would like to find this user by ID. So ID, and we will provide the ID as a hash because remember in this link, hash is our user ID we want to activate. So first we want to make sure we have this pending user in our database. Okay, so we are looking for a user. And if we have this user, if this user is found, we can activate a user. Otherwise, we should get here error, or we can even verify this. If we don't have a user, alright, just simply return me response.status 422, and let's send me message user cannot be activated. Alright, otherwise we can continue because we have a pending user. So what we want to do, we would like to copy all of the user data into normal user, not a pending one. So I will create here a new user. I'll write here const new user, and I'll write here a new user instance, and I will provide all of the informations of the user here into this user. So I will destructurize here user.data. So all of the informations will go into a new user. After that, I will save the user. So I'll write here await new user.save. This should store a user into our JSON file. And then I will remove the previous user. I will remove the pending user. So I'll write here await user.remove like this. And then simply I will return a JSON to the user response.json. And let's write here message. And the message will be, let's write here backticks. And let's say user $ and curly brackets with a hash has been activated like this. And a catch, we can write some invalid response. So I can write here this exact response here. Okay, response status user cannot be activated. And here we can remove this last response like this. Okay, so one more time, we are trying to find a pending user in our database. If we have a pending user, we will copy informations of a pending user into a new user. We'll store this a new user, we'll remove the pending user, and we'll send the response to that user has been activated. All right, guys, so let's try it now. Let's save this. Let's go to terminal. And one more time, let's run here npm run server. Let's go back to our browsers. All right, I will close this. I will click here again, activate link, and you should see here, user has been successfully activated. Now he should be activated, and in your database here, when you will go to DB data, in a pending user should be empty, and in a users, you should see actual user, which was previously pending user, but now it's actual user, not a pending one. And now you should be able to log in. So when you will go to login page, you can use here email test@gmail.com and a password test. And you should be logged we have been redirected to homepage, and that's a login functionality. Alright guys, so that should be it from this lecture. This very simple registration functionality with sending of activation email. All of this is just about the concept, so you know how to approach this problem when you are facing this question, or you need to implement such a solution for yourself, so you know what to do. Okay, there are multiple approaches you can achieve this. You can I will actually be talking about this if you want in my other video, but this is one of the approaches. You will register first user as a pending user, then you will send the activation email. If the user will click the email, you will you will create a new user, you will remove the pending user, and then you can verify in a login functionality if you have a user in database. So one more time, you can check here wireframe. I will include this wireframe in resources also this. Okay, you can find in the resources also link to my GitHub repository. You can check the actual code in my GitHub repository to verify if something is not working for you. You can verify it with my code. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. If you have any problems, ask them, and I will try to resolve it with you. I know sometimes it's hard to start with already created project, but there is no other solution we can go with, because this solution requires lots of explanations. If you want to see the step-by-step guide how to implement such steps, I have courses on Udemy. Please check out. You can check einco.com for more courses. There is lots of hours of content with simplified explanations, that cannot get into YouTube, of course. So if you want step-by-step lectures, just follow my Udemy lectures. And yeah, that should be it. Thank you for watching. I hope everything is working for you, and I hope to see you in some of my other videos. So cheers, guys.